going to now open a meeting of the Troutdale Urban Renewal Agency for January 13th, 2026. We'll start off with a roll call.
Director Andrews. Oh, he's coming back.
He's still there.
Come back. Director Allen. Here. Director One.
Present.
Director White.
Here.
Director Davidson.
Here.
Director Leamy.
Here.
Chair Whitman.
Here.
And Director Andrews.
Here.
All right. We'll move on to election of the agency vice chair. And I would entertain a motion to nominate an agency vice chair for the Urban Renewal Agency of the City of Troutdale.
I'll nominate Jesse Davidson.
I'll second it.
All right. Any other nominations for the vice chair of the Urban Renewal Agency? Well, I would entertain a motion to close nominations.
I make a motion to close nominations for the vice chair.
Is there a second? Second.
I'll second.
All right. Call the roll.
Director White.
Yes.
Director Davidson.
Yes.
Director Leamy.
Yes.
Director Andrews.
Yes.
Director Allen.
Yes.
Director One.
Yes.
Chair Whitman.
Yes. All right. And we'll vote on the election of Jesse Davidson, who was the only nominee, as agency vice chair of the Urban Renewal Agency. Please call the roll.
Director White.
Yes.
Director Davidson.
Yes.
Director Leamy.
Yes.
Director Andrews.
Yes.
Director Allen.
Yes.
Director One.
Yes.
Chair Whitman.
Yes. All right. Congratulations, Jesse. You're welcome to make a speech.
No,
You don't have to. Okay. All right. We'll move on to public comment. Agenda item number 3. Public comment on non-agenda and consent agenda items is welcome at this time. Public comment on agenda items will be taken at the time the item is considered. Public comment should be directed to the presiding officer and limited to matters of or related to matters which may or could come before this renewal agency. Each speaker shall be limited to 5 minutes for each agenda item unless a different amount of time is allowed by the presiding officer with consent of the agency. I'll open it to public comment. Anyone on Zoom wish to address the agency during public comment? Seeing no one, anyone in the room here wish to address the agency on public comment? Yes, ma'am.
Hello, Diane Castillo-White, and I live in Troutdale, Oregon. And I wanted to speak about something that will relate to this topic, but I'm on the Citizens Advisory Committee, and Tanny Stapleson and Dakota Meyer, who is our planner, Tanny Stapleson, who's our chair of planning committee, had a really good conversation about the legislative updates proposals, and some of them will possibly go into effect, I believe it's July, sometime in the summer, and others may be later. And I just wanted to say that I really wanted, for the last meeting, all the counselors to be able to listen to this, because it was very meaningful, it was very informative. But as somebody else was trying to watch it, again, those that were speaking, you couldn't hear a lot of the words. So I still recommend that everybody watch that, and that leads me to suggest that as the Oregon legislation changes, are going to be doing fill-in, and our density motivated, that we are going to have more issues, I believe, with parking in all of Troutdale, especially downtown. So as you're contemplating what the URA looks like, I'm still also being on the Town Center Committee. I've always advocated, I've been on it since its inception, always encourage parking so that people can park there on the site and then use our beautiful U trail to then go towards the visitor center and then go to be able to go to all the businesses that are located on in our downtown. So I just wanted to make that comment so that you all have that in mind, that now it looks like it's even more important unless these new legislative proposals are somehow challenged and do not come to fruition. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else wish to address the agency during public comment? All right. We'll close public comment and move on to the consent agenda. Glenn?
Your consent agenda 4.1 minutes, June 17, 2025, Urban Renewal Agency regular meeting. I move adoption.
Second.
All right. Please call the roll.
Director White,
Yes.
Director Davidson,
Yes.
Director McGee,
Yes.
Director Andrews,
Yes.
Director Allen,
Yes.
Director One,
Yes.
Chair Whitman.
Yes. Okay. Let's go on to agenda item number 5, report, brief progress report
What?
on the Confluence Site Development Project.
Very brief because of the ENA. I can't really discuss.
How much? I guess Scott.
I can't really discuss a lot of the negotiations until we get to a point later on for presentation to the board for decision. But we are in negotiations with the Ethos Time Equities Group. There's definitely some interest from NATO for the hotel. So as that progresses, we will try to keep the board apprised of everything that's transpiring. I shared with you many of those things just a week or so ago, and just an update on that. I have already reached out to them. We had a conversation today. It was a 45-minute conversation on that, and so hopefully I'll have more for you in the near future. But I can't really share.
Right, we had an executive session. I forget the ORS, but we had a proper executive session, and we can't really talk about it at this point. But it's
hang up.
Yeah, they didn't hang up. So.
I'm glad to hear that we're negotiating. So move on to agenda item number 6, the resolution approving the Urban Renewal Agency's financial statement for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025, and accepting the report of the independent certified public accountants. Eric.
Thank you, Chair. Board, deja vu all over again. This is very similar to the agenda item that I just addressed you on. In fact, the Urban Renewal Agency is what is referred to from the accountants or from GASB and from the auditor standpoint as a component unit of the city of Troutdale, and all of its financial statement information was included in the ACFR that you addressed and adopted in your prior meeting. There's a separate audit report that's prepared because the state of Oregon requires a separate audit for urban renewal agencies. So we use, of course, the same audit firm. They accomplish the task simultaneously, and just have to prepare another report. Similar structure, but of course the versus the 30 some odd funds that are in the city's overall financials. There are just the two in the Urban Renewal Agency, the debt service fund and the riverfront renewal fund. Same structure. The financial statements are prepared by management. Oversight of the financial activities is exercised and demonstrated by the agency board through the adoption and review of the report. Again, the audit opinion letter is, again, the same role. The auditors are expressing an opinion about the financial presentation of the agency's financial statements, and again, the same clean financial or clean audit report. As I mentioned, the information that's in this document is already the same numbers, slightly different format, but was included in the ACFR. For the agency, there was a clean audit opinion with no reservations, and again, the same. That in their opinion, in the auditor's opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects the respective financial position of the Urban Renewal Agency of the City of Troutdale, component unit of the City of Troutdale, for the year ended June 30, 2025, again in accordance with the accounting principles generally accepted in the United States. So again, clean audit opinion. Management letter is the SAS 115. As I mentioned before, there was no management letter necessary or prepared or issued for the Urban Renewal Agency. Same three deficiency categories, and again, there were no deficiencies reported, so that letter was unnecessary and not issued by the auditors. Again, the Oregon Municipal Audit Law requirements also apply to the Urban Renewal Agency. Not all of the various things that they're required to check are applicable to the agency, just because the agency, for instance, doesn't receive gas tax revenue, so there's nothing there for them to validate in that regard. But nevertheless, they go through and deal with the indebtedness, the deposits, the budgets, insurance and bonds, the public contracting, etc. Again, no exceptions were noted on the Oregon Municipal Audit report. And then finally, again, the auditor is required to issue the SAS 114, the auditor's communication with the governing body. That's also included at the end of the packet. Again, it goes through. They're responsible for communicating openly, candidly, specifically with those charged with corporate governance regarding significant findings, issues that were related to the audit. Again, their observations were that they issued a clean, unmodified audit opinion, that there were no exceptions to the state standards, and that the separate management letter was not issued. And again, the same future audit GASB standards as they would apply to the agency in the coming reporting period. And again, the same, the agency is approving the official financial statements and accepting the reports of the auditors. So that is the resolution that I'm asking for approval of to establish the record of the agency board's oversight of the agency's fiscal activities. And with that, I'm happy to address any questions that the agency board may have.
Any questions from any of the directors? All right. We're going to be voting on a resolution approving the agency's financial statements for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2025, and accepting the independent auditor's reports. I'll invite public comment, if any. Anybody on Zoom wish to address the agency on this matter? Does anyone in the chambers wish to address the agency on this matter? Unless there's other discussion. discussion? Well, I will entertain a motion. Yes, Glenn?
Sure. I move adoption of a resolution approving the Urban Renewal Agency financial statement for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2025, and accepting the report of the independent certified public accountants.
Second.
All right. Sarah, call the roll.
Director White,
Yes.
Director Davidson,
Yes.
Director Leamy,
Yes.
Director Andrews,
Yes.
Director Allen,
Yes.
Director One,
Yes.
Chair Whitman.
Yes. All right. Moving on to agenda item number 7, resolution approving the agency's annual financial impact report for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025. Eric.
Thank you, Chair. This is really the reason why we have to have a January Urban Renewal Agency meeting. I keep referring to it as a new requirement. It's about 5 years old now, I guess, so I should. But the legislature adopted changes to the Urban Renewal ORS chapter and required each Urban Renewal Agency to prepare a report that's primarily focused or reporting on the use of the tax increment financing for urban renewal indebtedness, and they established that it needs to be presented during January, or it has to be presented and distributed before the end of January following each fiscal year. And so that's what requires us to have an Urban Renewal Agency meeting in January. And because we only had these 2 items, we felt it was better to try and double up the meetings tonight rather than make you come back a week from tonight, which would be the normal Urban Renewal Agency meeting night. But in any case, this report is prepared to comply with the reporting requirement. ORS 457-460 requires an annual financial report on the impact of carrying out the urban renewal plan. As mentioned, the report's focus is on the financial impact resulting from the tax increment financing of urban renewal indebtedness, and recaps the revenue directed to the urban renewal agencies that would have otherwise gone to the overlapping taxing districts. Tax increment financing is explained or outlined in the report, and then subsequent to this meeting, then I will distribute this to each of the overlapping agencies as required by the statute. The report itself is immediately following the staff report in your packet, and then I'll need to distribute it to the governing bodies or their recorders or staff directors for Multnomah County, for Metro, Port of Portland, the Multnomah County Library District, the East Multnomah Soil and Water Conservation District, Multnomah Education Service District, Mount Hood Community College, and Reynolds School District. Each of those is an overlapping taxing jurisdiction within Troutdale and the Urban Renewal Agency, and I'm required to distribute this report following your adoption of it. And then the statute also requires that there is a representative that is available to those agencies to answer questions about the report, and so the resolution also designates me to be the person who responds to those questions. I will say the first year that this was distributed, I got questions, and it was basically, what is this and why are you sending it to us? And in subsequent years, I haven't gotten any questions from any of the other overlapping districts now that they're used to receiving it, but nevertheless, that's one of the requirements of the statute. So with that, and then the report itself, as I mentioned, is attached to give some background about the agency goals, the financial impact, discusses or describes tax increment financing, how it works. It provides the recap that's required in the statute on the monies that have been received. in the reporting period, the monies that were expended in the reporting period, the expected or the budget for the coming or current fiscal year that we're now in, both expected to be received as well as expected to be expended, and then the sort of the impetus of the statute of the maximum indebtedness. That's recapped on page 6 of the report, outlines our maximum indebtedness of the originally authorized $7 million, the amount that we've incurred to date or through June 30th, 2025 of 4.6, with the remaining 2.4 of indebtedness capacity essentially available still to incur, and then separately list the non-tax increment related debt that the agency has incurred. And then the bottom section of page 6, sort of the summary of it, or the focus, is the impact on the other taxing districts, where it outlines what the various taxes are imposed by each of those districts that I mentioned that will be distributing the report to. Essentially the amount of the tax that was carved off of their total tax and sent to the Urban Renewal Agency, which is where the term division of tax comes from, which is the terminology that's in the Constitution and the statute. And so for the Port of Portland, they had 6.7 million of taxes imposed. $611 of that was carved off and sent to the Troutdale Urban Renewal Agency. And it lists each of those items down through the 142,755 that was redirected to the agency. As it's important to point out, it's, even though it is listed as a line item on your individual home property tax bill, it does not increase your overall taxes. The total amount that you're paying is the same. It's just that some of what should have been on those other individual lines have been taken and put on the line for the Urban Renewal Agency and sent to the Urban Renewal Agency. And then the largest sort of agencies that have had taxes diverted, 35,000 or almost 36,000 of property taxes that would have gone to the city's general fund instead went to the Urban Renewal Agency's general fund. Multnomah County, 41,000, the library, almost 12,000, and the Reynolds School District, 42,000. It's important to note that, because I will get the question either directly or afterwards, is the impact on the education, and because of the way the legislature has established education funding, that 42,605 that was property taxes for the Reynolds School District that was sent to the Urban Renewal Agency, that is backfilled by the state as their funding that they provide for education, because funding for the school district is based on the ongoing attendance calculations and the cost, or the amount provided per student, and then ultimately the total amount that quote is earned or they're entitled to have to pay for their operations. The local taxes are deducted from that, and the state fills in the difference. Well, if there's 42,000 less, there's just a slightly bigger backfill that they provide. So the concern sometimes question, does urban renewal agencies hurt education? And the answer is no, based on how the financing is structured. So all of that is the reason why we had to have an urban renewal agency meeting in January, and I appreciate you meeting tonight and allowing me to fulfill those obligations. And with that, I'm happy to address any questions that the agency board may have.
Questions from the agents? All right. I'll invite the public comment. We are going to be voting on a resolution approving the Urban Renewal Agency's annual financial impact report for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025. Anybody on Zoom wish to address the agency? Anybody in the council chambers? Seeing none, no public comment. If there's no further comment, I would entertain a motion.
I move adoption of a resolution approving the agency's annual financial impact reports for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025.
All right. Call roll.
Director White,
Yes.
Director Davidson,
Yes.
Director Lee,
Yes.
Director Andrews,
Yes.
Director Allen,
Yes.
Director One,
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. We have one other item on the agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? We are adjourned.
You got it. That's all.